We're going to start with today's lesson talking about line and polyline and the differences between those two and how they are similar. We're going to use the explode tool and the join tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let's draw a kite, just kind of close, and then I'm going to close it with the line tool, and then with the polyline I'm going to do the same thing and close it. Okay, so far just about the same. When I hover over, though, you can see this is individual parts. They're all individual pieces, and so if I grabbed this piece and I moved it, AutoCAD recognizes it as individual lines and not part of a group. When I click on it over here, though, I've got this part, and if I move it, you can see the entire thing's going to move with it because AutoCAD recognizes it as a group. The polyline is part of one big group. Each of these lines are individual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, click, and click. Now I've selected all of those, and up here, you can see the explode tool. It looks like a box that it's exploded. It's not as exciting as you think. There's not going to be a kaboom or anything. But when I click on that, that will explode the object that I'm working with. Now this is already exploded because it's got individual parts, not a group. But if I did that over here to my polyline, it would separate it. So the opposite of explode is going to be join. On the left, I'm going to select all of those, and I'm just going to type in the word join, J-O-Y-N, press enter, and it has now connected all of that. You can see if I click on one piece, all of it is selected. Now it is treated just like a polyline. If I come over here to the other side and I hit the explode button, it will now recognize it as individual pieces. This is helpful for whenever you have things stuck in a group and you need to explode them, you use explode. And if you want to bring them back together, bring the shape back together, you just join. I'm just typing in J-O-Y-N. Now we're going to look at how to fillet, how to chamfer, trim, and rotate. What we're going to do is we're going to begin by drawing a rectangle using our polyline. We're going to click on polyline, and we're going to specify our first point, 1, 1. Remember, it acts just like a line. We're just going to use it, and it's going to help us put it all together. We're going to go 11 at 0, 7 at 90, 11 at 0, and then we're going to close. We're going to use our offset. So we're going to use our offset that we learned the other day, and we're going to highlight that object. After we've done offset, right, we know the distance is 0.5, so 0.5, I press enter, select the object, and we're going to go to the inside. Now that we're on the inside there, we're going to draw a line. We're going to draw a line 3 inches in at 0, and then straight down. We're going to offset this line, 0.5, and move it over. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to draw a line 3 inches in, draw it straight down, connect it. We just use the object snap for that. And then I'm going to offset this one. The distance again is 0.5, and we're taking it to the inside. So now that we've got that, we're going to look at how to trim. So we've got this little shape right here. We just offset to the inside. We went with our 3 inches in. Now we're going to trim. Trim allows us to cut away pieces. You can see this little overlap there. This little overlap there, I want that to go away. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and click on trim. And trim's going to give me a couple options. I want to have no boundaries. So I'm going to press enter. No boundaries, enter. Now anything that I hover over, it'll let me know that I can get rid of that. I can delete that, delete that, delete that, and delete that. Notice I can't delete this. That's because that's one whole line all by itself. And if I wanted to delete that, I would just hit escape, select it, and press delete. So trim, again, what we did, and I'll undo so that we can see, is I clicked on trim, It tells me to designate boundaries, but I don't want to designate boundaries. I'm going to press enter so I can freely delete those little extra pieces. And so it takes the normal line and it separates it into small little chunks based off of the little boundaries that are automatically there. So I've used trim and I've set that up. Now let's look at fillet and chamfer. Fillet is going to be rounding of a corner, and chamfer is going to be a sharp beveled edge. So if you click up here, you'll see fillet, which is the rounded one. So for fillet, what I want to do is I want to click on fillet, and you see down here where it says undo polyline radius, I want to click on radius, and I want to tell the radius to be 0.75. When I press enter, now the radius has been changed to 0.75. It'll let me select the first one and then the next edge, and you can see it already rounds it for me to kind of give me a preview if I wanted that one or this one. And I'm going to copy this process for all of those 4 sides. So I've already set the radius, and you can see it's highlighted there, 0.75, and so I'm just going to select the first object and the last object, and that one and this one, and then again on these corners. Now you can see I've rounded all of those corners, and the radius of that is 0.75. Now let's look at chamfer. Chamfer is going to give me that sharp beveled edge. So I just click down the drop down arrow and click on chamfer. Chamfer, I need to specify my distance, or I can tell it the angle. I'm going to do distance. So the first distance I want it to be 0.5, and the next distance I want it to be 0.5. This is the distance away from the corner that it's going to cut back. So if I click on this, you can see it cut back 0.5 and 0.5, and it made my sharp edge. 0.5, 0.5, and it saved that setting from before. And so that's how we would use chamfer. Now let's talk about rotate and rotate plus copy. So what we're going to do is we're just going to draw, let's just grab the rectangle tool, and we're just going to draw just one little rectangle. I'm not too worried about that one. Mine's just about 1.5. We're going to use our copy tool, and so I'm going to select this, select the object. Remember, once I've finished selecting the object, I press enter, and then now I need to specify the base point I want to copy it. I'm just going to click here and put mine out, and again, it doesn't matter exactly what we do. You'll get the idea in just a second. So I'm going to do 5 of those spread out, and once I've done that, I want to go ahead and I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to select all of them. And up here, I've got the rotate. It's the one that looks like a circle rotating around. And so I'm going to click on that. When I click on it, I need to specify the base point. So I'm going to specify the base point as this midpoint on the far left rectangle. And I'm going to click on it. Now you can see I can rotate it. And because I have my polar tracking on, it'll actually lock in at each of those degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees. I'm going to go and click 60 degrees, and you can see it rotated. Those 5 pieces moved back over. Well, let's say I wanted to do rotate plus copy. So I'm going to undo that. Repeat the same steps. I'm going to select it first, or if you click rotate, it's going to say select objects. So you can select 1, 2, and once you're done selecting, press enter. Now I need to specify the base point. Now I'm going to do that same base point, the midpoint on the far left shape. When I click on that, then I want to come down here and I want to click copy. Now it is going to duplicate that. You can see that the icon has changed to the 2 circles, which tell me that it's going to copy it. So when I click, I now have a copy rotated around. Pretty neat. Rotate will work if I just wanted to rotate it, or I could do rotate and copy to a specific angle.